JIvan Sadhana, a noble art of living. This is a compilation of articles first published in the special issue, January 2004, of Akhand Jyoti, Hindi, and later as a series of articles under the main theme, Art of Living, in Akhand Jyoti, The Light Divine. Editors, Dr. Pranav Pandya and Shambhu Das. English translation, Brahmvarchis and Dr. A.S. Verma. Published by Shri Vyadmata Gayatri Trust, Gayatri Nagar, Shri Rampuram, Shanti Kunj, Haridwar, India. Online, awgp.org, dsvv.org. Email, shantikunj@awgp.org. Revised edition, 2011. ISBN 8182550272.
Contents 1. The enlightened state of self-awareness. 2. Thought, character and conduct, the triad of personality. 3. Attainment of goals through faith in the divine. 4. The melodious music of life is played on the instrument of sound health. 5. Tap and Vrat bring order into life. 6. Heat book, myth book, read book. 7. Dress should accord with the national culture. 8. Imaginations should be meaningful with deep conviction in them. 9. Firm determination is a mark of spiritual progress. 10. Know the essence of tender emotions. 11. Guidelines for sharpening the intellect. 12. How to enrich our creative talents and memory. 13. Let creative potentials materialize fully. 14. Creativity is developed by noble and positive thoughts. 15. Embrace high ideals, achieve excellence. 16. Guidelines for cultivating self-confidence. 17. Develop self-respect. 18. Development of virtues, the only touchstone for self-evaluation. 19. Key to all-round success. 20. Mutual understanding and tact. 21. What should be ideal attitude towards adversities? 22. Stress is a boon, welcome it. 23. Recognize the value of time. 24. How to make the personality magnetic? 25. Self-expression should be effective. 26. Characteristic attributes of leadership. 27. Who can be a true visionary? 28. Let the fragrance of JIvan Sadhana waft across on this Vasant. 29. Golden tips for living a purposeful life. Preface. Swayam vajins tanvan kalpyasva, swayam yajasva swayam jushsva, mahima tenye nasannase. Yajurved 23:15. O mighty Yagya Purush, sacrificer. Make your own body strong and capable. Perform the Yagya yourself. Engage personally in religious pursuits. No one else can attain the glory that belongs to you. Dear reader, the spring breeze charged with the subtle vital energy of Yog Devta, time spirit, has come in the form of these printed exhortations to fill you with new life, new spur and new hope. This breeze will blow off all the dust which the passing time may have deposited over the smoldering embers in you and rekindle it into leaping flames. You will experience the upsurge of a radiant glow, energy, warmth and ardor inside you that will propel you vigorously in the direction of JIvan Sadhana, the way of leading a healthy, vibrant, enlightened, happy and balanced life. If you are sensing the stir of these feelings inside you, surely the Yogdevata's subtle pranic force has touched you somewhere. Otherwise, you would not have felt this new alertness and enthusiasm. Do not quibble about who is outwardly penning the words or framing the sentences. This indeed is the function of a 2-rupee pen and some ink and paper. But this assortment of trifles cannot impart to you the feeling that you are experiencing just now. This miracle is the work of Gurudev's transcendent consciousness, which wants to enter your soul and transform it into its likeness with every line and every expression of this work. He is the inspiration, he is the vital force, he wants to take you ahead on this path. The new century has cast some responsibility on each one of us. We have to rise to the occasion and meet those responsibilities. To acquire this worthiness, the sole method is JIvan Sadhana. It is this process which will mold us anew, refine us and open up vistas of a new world of possibilities in our lives. Thoughts lead to prudence, which in turn gives rise to inner determination, and the latter gives rise to sincerity in sadhana, and continuation of this sincerity brings about miraculous changes in life. We all have to start afresh with this sequence and accomplish that which we have wanted but could not do for one reason or the other. This is the royal road to personality development. How long will we remain enamored of our pygmy identities? We have to develop and enlarge our personalities, because only this is the basis of progress, prosperity and glory. This is needed not only for our own sakes but also for the sake of others. Today, in whichever direction we cast our gaze, no towering personality which can inspire humanity with the highest and noblest ideals is visible. There is no dearth of pompous qualifications and degrees. Experts and specialists are scattered everywhere. But this surfeit of skill and expertise lacks the warmth and fragrance of a noble spirit. The rich are available but not the virtuous. There is power and authority but not the devotion to see the one in all. The ugly dance of luxury and crudities is rampant all around, but the soothing flow of tender emotions, compassion and selfless service has dried up. Who then will regenerate the spring wells of noble emotions? There is only one crying demand in life: give us our worthwhile ideal. The children, the students, the elite, the masses, all have the same demand. The problem is, who is there to learn it from? It is we who have to fill this vacuum, who have to scale the Himalayan peaks of lofty ideals. All are aware of the ills of the society. Everyone is busy blaming the others, branding them as bad, dishonest and cunning. In the newspapers, magazines and audiovisual media everywhere, corruption is a pet theme and high-sounding pontifications are being dished out day and night by variety of experts. But no one really is able to supply an effective answer to these ills. The solution is one only, viz., the path of JIvan Sadhana. There is no alternative to it if we want to extricate ourselves from this morass. Not in others' revilement, but in self-refinement lies the meaning of existence. Let us apply ourselves to the task of refining every aspect of our thought, character and conduct. Let us cleanse ourselves so thoroughly that all the blemishes and dirt are washed away, those acquired in this life as well as those coming from previous lives. Our JIvan Sadhana should rise to the level whence it is able to purify not only our thoughts but also our sanskars. Our children and young ones should be able to see their ideals in us. The situation today is that we teach good things to our children but fail to practice them ourselves. That is why the young generation snubs and disrespects us. It is the deeds, not preachings, that impart real education. The mold of one personality forms another personality. As guardians, we should mold our personalities in the image we want to give to our children. If we are teachers, we should sculpt ourselves in a way that the students feel pride in emulating us. If we have taken a vow of social work, we should motivate others by the concrete example of our conduct. Remember, no amount of blaming or criticism will reform a person. Change comes only by love and caring and living examples. We should so lead our lives that each one of us becomes a living training center. This is the essence of JIvan Sadhana. O progeny of the Mahakala, the absolute time spirit, do not waste this precious time anymore. Awake, arise, and start on this journey of JIvan Sadhana. You are not alone on this path. You have the omnipotent God with you. The blessings of Gurudev are being showered upon you. The subtle astral beings of the Himalayan rishis are singing sacred chants for you. The gods in their celestial abodes are showering their divine graces upon you. These auspicious moments must not be allowed to go in vain. Our place is in the front ranks of the makers of the new age. Numerous virtues of Jivan Sadhana and responsibilities of the new era are waiting for us. Pranav Pandya.
1. The enlightened state of self-awareness. Yo jagrat tan cha kamyante, yo jagrat tan samani yanti. Yo jagrat tan ayam som tavah masmi sakhen yog. Rigved 5, 44, 14. He who is enlightened, the Vedic verses invoke him. He who is enlightened, the hymns of Sama are sung to him. He who is enlightened, only to him Soma says that he finds delight in his friendship. The truth of life lies in self-awareness or enlightenment. Only he who is inwardly awake is living in the real sense. The life of an unenlightened person is nothing more than a state of deep unconsciousness or coma. There is not much to choose between a comatose person in a hospital and one who is devoid of self-awareness. The only difference between the two is that unlike the comatose one, the latter is able to move and walk around. Both spend almost their entire lives on the support system of involuntary or reflex actions of the unconscious mind. There is no meaning or purpose in such a life. For this very reason, the essence of Jivan Sadhana, holistic refinement of the body, mind and soul, can be encapsulated in one small word, bodh, or enlightenment, that is, to become awake and perform all actions with full consciousness. Our activities have almost wholly become mechanical. The body has learned some movements and memorized some set patterns and paths. When we walk, for example, our body knows when to turn left or right, and it mechanically does so. When we reach our homes, we enter through the door. But these actions do not require any real awareness, they are performed automatically, without any conscious volition. In this sense, our entire life, almost 90% of it, remains in a state of non-consciousness. This non-consciousness is our bondage. It is as if a big stone is submerged in water with only its tip protruding above. In the same way, the major part of our conscious being, the greater mind, remains immersed in darkness. Only a very small portion of it is visible on the outside. What we know as and call our mind is in fact a very tiny part, and that which we do not even recognize is the much greater part. Modern psychology calls this very hidden entity unconscious mind. Rishis, enlightened sages and seers, explain that unless this unconscious mind is made conscious, unless the whole of it gradually becomes filled with light, Jivan Sadhana will remain incomplete. When the lamp of consciousness is fully lit within us, when every nook and corner of the interior is illumined with its glow, and no part remains in the dark, only then we will become fully enlightened and our Jivan Sadhana will reach fruition. As this enlightened state of true self-awareness begins to dawn, all the potencies of life, all its mysteries, all kinds of creative talents will automatically start revealing and activating themselves. What is the process and procedure of this awakening? The first requirement for this is a spirit of inquiry. Only those who inquire or seek deeply, and whose seeking is genuine, are able to tread the path of Jivan Bodh, self-awareness. It is this seed of inquiry that sprouts forth, grows, and gradually leads to awakening. What should be the form of seeking? The answer is that one should continually reflect on the meaning and nature of life. What is its aim, objective, and purpose? Reflect on the present course of life on which we are mindlessly meandering, and on the actions which we are mechanically performing. Mansi Vicharya Baram Baram, this aphorism of Acharya Shankara tells us that as we begin to ponder over the important questions of life, and as we grow more and more inquisitive about it, we get more and more deeply acquainted with the verities of our life. It is through the genuineness and intensity of seeking that we become able to know ourselves, and then we are surprised at our folly. Oh, how in the world were we continuing with such a senseless existence? Inquiry explains to us the meaning and purpose of life. It reveals the raison d'etre of things and empowers us to discriminate between the right and the wrong, the virtuous and the vicious, the purposeful and the purposeless. In short, it makes us conscious and wakeful. This is the natural result of inquiry and may be considered as the second stage in the process of awakening. In the state of wakefulness, we are able to cognize our strengths and potentials. Correct understanding of the state of mind and meaningful use of the available circumstances are possible in this very condition. Side by side, we can also identify and overcome the psychological and material obstacles which had hitherto prevented us from actualizing our potentials, from giving proper expression to our talents, and from experiencing the pleasure of a meaningful existence. It is this very depth and intensity of awakening that becomes Jivan Bodh. Every facet of life, its every nook and corner is illumined with the light of awareness. Nothing remains hidden, nothing remains unseen, nothing remains unfamiliar. Every event in life, big or small, becomes a lesson. The whole life becomes a school, a continuing education, instead of being a burden. He who lives in true awareness, utilizes the moments of happiness in the best possible manner. At the same time, he also knows how to derive benefit from the times of trials and tribulations. Moments of joy are yoga for him, while moments of pain turn into tap, disciplinary austerities. In every situation, he has full comprehension of the meaning of existence. It is in this state that the interior begins to grow with the light of the truth that only those who are wakeful, alert and conscious can walk the path of Jivan Sadhana. This path is so perilous and demanding that even the slightest sluggishness and carelessness in effort will result in fall and failure. The personality will remain dull, confused and underdeveloped. To understand the different dimensions of the personality and to illuminate them is the first step on the path of Jivan Sadhana.
2. Thought, character and conduct, the triad of personality. Samvah pacyantam tanvan, sam manasi samumrat, sma voam brahmanspati, bhargah sam vo ajigmat atharvaved. 6:74, 1. May your body, mind, thought, dharma, character, and action, conduct, be in synergy. May God, the Lord of knowledge, harmonize you, and the Lord of splendor integrate you. Understanding the different dimensions of personality and a proper synthesis between them provides energy for Jivan Sadhana. It is absolutely essential for such a sadhak to become fully familiar with his own personality and know which are the aspects that express his inner consciousness. Personality is a widely used term. It is used in different meanings and connotations in psychology. Psychologists have written much about it. But still most of the people remain ignorant of the essence or real meaning of the term. The depths of personality yet remain unfathomed. In the beginning, the psychologists may have understood the word personality simply as a derivative of the Latin persona, meaning a mask or facade or outer covering. But now it is commonly accepted that the real reasons behind human behavior remain hidden in the depths of his interior. If we are to reach at the root of a man's conduct, we will have to dig through the layers of his character and mind. Without properly knowing these entities, an objective explanation of his conduct will be impossible. A meaningful definition of personality may be given as the aggregate of a person's characteristic features and qualities. These features and qualities are manifested in his external conduct, but their origins go far deeper and remain hidden in his thoughts and sanskars, persistent mental impressions. This is also spoken of by the rishis, Yanmanasa dhyati tadvacha vadati yadvacha vadati, tatkarmana karoti yat karmana karoti, tadbhi sampadyet. Meaning, as a man thinks in his mind, so is his speech. As he speaks, so does he conduct himself. As is his conduct, so does he become. Thought, character and conduct, these form the three-dimensional identity of personality. Between these three, the first dimension is of thought. It consists of that which we think and keeps cropping up and circulating in our ideas and imaginations. The continuity and intensity of this thought shapes our character. The process of this character building is very gradual, because the underlying basis of character is the sanskars or innate dispositions which lie dormant in the depths of the unconscious mind. As long as the intensity of thought does not reach the stage where it can refine the sanskars, the character remains totally unaffected. This very composite of thought and character is reflected in the conduct. So, if the personality is to be refined and developed to its fullest potential, and along the right path, it would be imperative to mold its three-dimensional nature afresh. There is an instructive anecdote about molding the personality in this way. In South India there was a very learned and tapasvi sage, Sadashiv Brahmendra Swami. Those days he was studying Vedanta in his guru's ashram. His whole time was spent in study, contemplation and tap. Once a renowned scholar, Pandit Mahashay, visited the ashram. It so happened that soon he and Sadashiv Swami were locked in a debate. In no time, Sadashiv Swami, with his dazzling scholarship, tore all his adversaries' arguments to shreds and reduced him to a position where the Pandit Mahashay had to apologize and retreat. Feeling exultant at his victory, Sadashiv Swami narrated the incident to his Gurudev, expecting probably a pat on the back. But quite the opposite happened. Gurudev severely reprimanded him. He said, "Sadashiv, noble thought is worthwhile only when it builds a noble character, and a noble character is meaningful only when it is translated into noble conduct. You studied and contemplated on Vedanta, but were unable to sculpt the character of a truth-seeking sadhak, nor were you able to train your conduct accordingly. For this reason, your whole effort thus far at study and contemplation can only be worthy of condemnation." These words of his guru burst Sadashiv Swami's bloated sense of ego. Very humbly he asked, "Gurudev, how should we sculpt noble character?" Gurudev replied, "Son, to sculpt the personality afresh, one should have, first of all, its clear outline in the mind. For example, for formation of the personality of a truth-seeking sadhak, it would be essential that every moment, thinking of the sadhak is imbued with his jnana sadhana. The second important point is that no idea or element of thought contrary to the main purpose is allowed to enter the mind. Thirdly, the intensity of purposeful thinking is maintained continuously. Reflection and contemplation must continue ceaselessly. By such deep thought the suitable personality is formed. But remember, Gurudev warned, contemplation is meant to shape one's own personality and not to score debating points over others and satisfy one's ego. Unnecessary argumentation is a hindrance to the process, and only by avoiding this, can a new character be sculpted, a character which purifies and illumines even the nature and attributes of the body and the sense organs. It is for this reason that the Vedic rishis have included the body and the sense organs within the definition of character. As for conduct, Gurudev continued, it should be wholly transparent and guileless like the character, no matter how much trials and suffering one has to undergo. It is through the conduct that deeper layers of a man's personality find expression. So it must be commensurate with the dignity and honor of one's JIvan Sadhana. Sadashiv Swami imbibed deeply these words of his guru in advance on the path of his JIvan Sadhana. For those who wish to tread this path in a similar way, it will also be essential that they find a noble and lofty goal for themselves.
3. Attainment of goals through faith in the divine. Om Bhur Bhuvaha Swaha, Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yo Naha Prachodayat. Rigved 3, 62, 10, Yajurved 3, 35, Samved 14, 62. May we behold in our inner self the Supreme Being who is the embodiment of vital energy, Pran, the destroyer of suffering, the annihilator of sin, the joy incarnate, the sublime, the resplendent, the divine. May that Supreme Being inspire our minds towards the enlightened, righteous path. The Gayatri Mahamantra is not only helpful in attainment of noble goals in life, but in essence, is itself the ultimate goal of life. Only by beholding the Supreme Being in the inner self and by resolutely treading the righteous path, can mankind search for and find its sublime goal. An aimless life is a miserable life of wandering in the wilderness. The absence of a worthy aim renders all the means and efforts meaningless. Unless the goal is clear, the internal energy and latent strengths cannot be channelized in the right direction. All the potentialities begin to wither away in a life without a lofty purpose to pursue after. To prevent this eventuality, it is imperative that a goal be fixed. For selecting and fixing the goal, it is essential to minutely search one's inner being, because only such a close search will unravel the facts whose analysis will enable us to determine the goal. In connection with this inner investigation, the first point is to identify the talents hidden within oneself. That is, to know one by one all the latent qualities that are yearning to find expression. The second point is to pinpoint that specific God-gifted spark or impulse which has been stirring us since our childhood. The third point is those challenges which have frequently surfaced before us and with which we are still surrounded. An intensive scrutiny of these challenges is very essential, because without surmounting them, we cannot proceed towards our goal. The fourth item is our own value system of life which we have inculcated within us and cherish. Generally, this value system abides in us in the form of some noble thoughts and duties, and we are not inclined to abandon them under any circumstances. The fifth point concerns those resources which we possess presently. It is this asset which will come to our aid in the course of our progression towards the goal. And the sixth prerequisite is those opportunities which destiny has bestowed upon us. Only after reflecting well over these 6 points, should we choose and determine our goal. But even more important than the 6 points enumerated above is the seventh, which is our own vision or dream whose rainbowy glow has illumined our inner mindscape since the very beginning. To realize this dream could be the chosen goal of our life. It is a pleasant truth that a dream is born in every heart. We believe in its fulfillment, then our dream takes concrete shape, and a miracle is wrought. Whatever be the goal, career-related, or economic, material, mental, familial or spiritual, once it has been set after careful consideration, it is not wise to change it frequently. At the same time, it is necessary that in selection of the goal, the above-mentioned 7 considerations are kept in view, because impossible ventures, such as settling down on the Mars or pulling down the sun to the earth, cannot be set as the goal in life. But if a feasible and logical goal has been set, there should be no question of going back. After fixation of the goal, the next requirement is total concentration on it. Total concentration means that the whole personality should merge in that, so much so that the one begins to be identified with the other. When firm resolve, full devotion and unwavering faith become combined, attainment of the goal is ensured. The seemingly impossible begins to be not only possible but attainable, successive steps start gaining momentum, and opportunities begin to emerge spontaneously. Those whose search of a goal is over and who are advancing towards it with complete faith will ultimately succeed in realizing it. This much is certain. In this connection, the memoirs of the great seer Swami Vivekananda is instructive. Swamiji has written that after the Mahasamadhi of his Guru Sri Ramakrishna Paramhans Dev, all the Guru Bhai, brother disciples, were left without money, home and means. There was no proper arrangement for even food. But, yes, their goal was crystal clear before their eyes. Also, they all had unwavering faith in the nobility and loftiness of the goal, that is, the restoration of the sublime glory of Mother India and Indian culture, so that the banner of Indian culture would once again flutter in the world. But how would this lofty goal be achieved? To this, there was only one answer: divine help, because those who have unwavering faith in the divine would rediscover their innate strengths. They would be able to run and not get tired, they would keep walking and not feel exhausted. Swamiji says, the experience shows that the very thought of divine help generates in the mind a unique serenity which is beyond description. Whenever I have felt loneliness in the course of my sadhana, I have remembered Christ's assuring words, "Be not afraid, be not disappointed, because I, your Lord, your God, am always with you. I will accompany you wherever you go." The inspiring moments of God's help and experience of the divine are always helpful in attainment of an exalted goal. If, however, the goal is vast and grand, it should be completed in stages. It will be better if it is broken down into yearly, monthly and fortnightly units, and we proceed towards it gradually, albeit steadily, determinedly and faithfully. We should look upon God as our benefactor and the Gayatri mantra as our anchor. This divine anchor imparts to the personality a mystic strength and enables it to cover the distance to the goal easily. One should not, though, neglect one's health during the course of this sacred journey.
4. The melodious music of life is played on the instrument of sound health. Ayur me pahi, pranam me pahi, panna me pahi, vyanna me pahi, chakshur me pahi, shrotram me pahi, vachya me pahi, mano me jinvatmanna me pahi, jyotirmay yach. Yajurved 14:17. O God, may you protect my lifespan. May you protect my pran, apana and vyana life currents. May you protect my eyes and ears. May you enrich my voice and make my mind contented. May you protect my soul and bestow light on me. Good health is the pivot of JIvan Sadhana. Any kind of progress, temporal or spiritual, is conditional on vibrant health. Money, fame, power, knowledge and even tap all depend on it. But in spite of this being a common knowledge, most of the people are casual about it, albeit with varying excuses and justifications. Some are too busy to care for health, while some lay the blame on circumstances. What is surprising is that even the spiritual seekers are often found negligent about their health in the name of tap. In reality, the root cause of neglecting health is the lack of a holistic vision of life. Most of the people are in such a tearing hurry to arrive or get more and more that they do not have time to pause and think about their bodily well-being. By the time they come to their senses, it is too late and they are trapped in the vicious cycle of diseases. Their vitality has ebbed and they are reduced to the pitiable plight of the lamp which is on the verge of extinction for want of oil. Now nothing helps, not even the things which they had been acquiring so far at the cost of health. The very continuance of life becomes a pain. The modern age is witnessing an increasing lack of self-control. People's craving for sense indulgence, their madness for pleasures of all sorts is increasing by the day, and this, in turn, is devastating their health. The wise are aware of the truth that lack of self-control is akin to playing holy with one's own blood. At first, the sport appears enticing, the bright red spurs one on and on to ever more rounds of carnal pleasures until soon the situation becomes grave and vicious. Incontinence of different kinds gives birth to diseases of all sorts. These diseases impose many restrictions and prohibitions on the future life pattern, but to the habits long formed, no restriction is either palatable or implementable. As a result, life becomes a nightmare, being slowly ground between the two wheels of mental agony and physical pain. Sometimes, in the name of tap and sadhana, the body and health are subjected to such severities that the very edifice begins to crumble. The irony is that even the spiritual powers which had been sought prove a chimera. The only gain is a show of pretense where the practitioner gets slowly ruined and the audience bored. Castigating these cruelties to the body in the name of tap, Yogeshwar Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Karshayanta sharirastham, bhutra gram chetasah. Machavanta sharirastham, tan vidya suranishchayam. 17:6. Meaning, the ignoramuses who enfeeble both the elements existing in the corporeal form and also me, the cosmic spirit indwelling the inner self, consider them as of demonic disposition, O Arjuna. The true spiritual life is a sattvika, simple and pious, lifestyle. It is the confluence of Sanyam, sadhana and seva, self-control, self-awakening and service, a grand experiment in purification of thoughts and emotions. Irregular eating and random fasting cannot be called tap. There is an instructive story in this connection in Buddhist Jatak tales. Once Prince Prashravana came to Bhagwan Tathagat to learn Jivan Sadhana. Bhagwan preached to the visiting sadhakas at specific times only. This time varied for each sadhak, depending on his inner state. Prince Prashravana had to wait for some time. Meanwhile, he began fasting of his own accord. Starvation, combined with haphazard daily routine, took a heavy toll on his health. He fell victim to many ailments too. Now Tathagat called him and taught him the precept of middle path. Son Prashravana, you are an accomplished veena player. Tell me, when does the right music come out of veena? Prashravana replied, Bhagwan, when the strings of veena are in perfect tension. If the strings are loose, or taut even slightly more than required, the right note cannot be produced by the veena. The Buddha smiled at this reply and said affectionately, Son, this is true of Jivan Sadhana too. The sweet melody of life resonates neither in excessive indulgences nor in extreme rigors. Both these conditions can generate inharmony and disorder only. The music of life is produced on the instrument of sanyam or self-control, which consists in avoiding the extremes and adopting moderation. These words of the Buddha enlightened Prashravana, and he realized that neglect of health is no recipe for Jivan Sadhana. It does not produce melodious music in Jivan Veena. For sound health, one has to bring about harmony between the body, mind and soul, and use judgment and discrimination to make life holistic and balanced. Regulating and refining the daily routine is the first step in this direction.
5. Tap and Vrat bring order into life. Yan deva swaro hurhitva, sharir mansya nabhim. Ten gam suktasya lokam, dharmasya vraten tapsa yashasya vah. Atharva Ved 4, 11, 6. The Supreme Being, by whose grace the self-realized, after discarding their mortal bodies, have attained to the elixir of moksha or salvation. By the grace of that Supreme Being, and by Vrat and Tap, we seekers of glory will also attain to that transcendental abode. Regulating the daily routine not only improves health but also imparts a certain glow to the whole Jivan Sadhana. The daily routine may appear to constitute a small aspect of life, but on a deeper look we find a reflection of the whole gamut of life in it. The values of life, its aims, direction, ideals, goal, everything we can glimpse in the daily routine. One whose day-to-day life is haphazard and disorderly, remains confused and aimless in the larger scheme of life too. This is a cardinal truth, whatever arguments and excuses to the contrary may be proffered. An organized routine ensures refinement and priming of the energies of the body, mind and soul, and their application in a specific direction. It is important to distinguish that order or organization does not merely mean the existence of a particular condition. The indication of a particular direction too is implicit in it. In disorder, on the other hand, there is neither any specific condition nor any direction. In order, there is spontaneous creation, whereas in disorder, only destruction flourishes. This truth can be perceived clearly in every walk of life and every nook of the society. Haphazard routine not only ruins health but also gives birth to serious psychological problems. Even the school-going children and teenagers, not to speak of the adults, have become victims of these maladies. A disease like diabetes is not sparing even small children now. Miscellaneous studies point to only one factor as the root culprit, viz., the lifestyle has become unbalanced, the daily routine has become chaotic. Sleep time is wasted in fun and frolic while that for waking and working is spent in sleeping. This topsy-turviness has antagonized nature. Experts of human physiology as well as of human psychology are convinced that man will have to suffer the ill consequences of tampering with the biological rhythm ordained by nature. And this is exactly what is happening. If we have to salvage the situation, there is no alternative to reversing the inverted. This is the only solution which can bring modern life presently groping in the maze of wilderness back on the right tracks. There is an illuminating anecdote often related among the Vaishnav saint community. An elderly saint lived in Vrindavan, the dham or abode of Lord Krishna. Many among the wealthy and elite were his followers. They too suffered from the frailties which invariably develop from surfeit of money and power, but still they all possessed sense of veneration for their guru. They would often ask their guru about the ultimate secret of life. The saint fenced the question with a laugh because he knew that the underlying spirit of the question was not genuine inquiry but mere curiosity. But one day the contrary happened. A true seeker asked the same question. In response, the guru became somber. He sent the seeker to the great Saint Rup Goswami of Vrindavan with the instruction that if the aspirant could learn the essence of that saint's life, then he too would instruct him in the ultimate mystery of life. What the saint said was somewhat unusual, but the disciple had total faith in him. In pursuance of his guru's instruction, he remained with Rup Goswami for some time and then came back. When he bowed at the feet of his guru, the latter looked at him questioningly and asked, "Tell me, what is the essence of the life of Goswamiji?" "Tap and Vrat," the disciple replied succinctly. The saint's face lit up with a sense of satisfaction and he said, "Son, Tap and Vrat are the quintessence of not only Goswami's life but the ultimate secret of everyone's life. When a person is able to bring order into his daily routine with the help of the formula of Tap and Vrat, every other thing, money, fame, power, respect and spiritual glories become easily accessible to him. Tap means to prevent the wastage of one's vigor and energy, and Vrat means to resolutely pursue the path of self-enlightenment. Those who are desirous of regulating their daily routine should get up before sunrise, prepare a schedule of the day's work, and fix one goal for every day. They should spend the entire day within the framework of this discipline and go to bed in the night immersing themselves in the remembrance of the merciful God. Some practical guidelines to a disciplined routine can be learned from the Diary of Sadhak printed by Dev Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya. This diary will help the sadhakas organize their routine and guide them into living a life of tap and vrat. It is important to keep in mind that the seed of wakefulness lies in sleep. So that the day is begun on the right note, sleep should commence at the right time too. The diet also should be regulated because food impacts the entire course of life.
6. Hitbhuk, mitbhuk, ritbhuk. Na mata man shramanota, tandran vochamma, suno teti somam. Yo, me pan dyo dadadyo nibodhayo ma, sunvantmup gobhirayat. Rigved 2:37. O men, only those food articles are fit for consumption that make the body energetic and contented, that provide glow and comfort, and that make the organs strong and fit for the performance of yajna. Do not ever stock and consume those herbs, food materials that sap the body's strength and produce lethargy and intoxication. The effect of food on the body is comprehensive. Be it physical health or mental well-being, both are intrinsically linked with food, and keeps taking up and down swings depending on changes in it. It is a matter of common experience. Bad and irregular dietary habits make the body sick and the mind restless. If we were to enumerate the ill effects of rich, pungent, spicy and fried food, we will have to list practically all the diseases, because all of them have direct or indirect connection with food. The fashionable fast food, packed food or junk food of today also fall in the same category. This new style of eating, widely prevalent these days, has given many a body blow to the quality of human life. Food is a basic necessity of life. Everybody knows this, but few have an idea of what to eat, when to eat, and how to eat. Let's first take the what to eat aspect. The only proper and right answer to this question is that we should eat only what provides nourishment to the body. It is important to remember that we eat to live and do not live to eat. So, if the right kind of food is to be selected out of a long list of eatables, we will have to give preference to only those items that have nutritional value and are beneficial for health. Such articles can very easily be identified. Everybody is aware, for example, of the value of fresh fruits, vegetables, pulses, cereals, etc. Many cooking ingredients like pungent spices, appetizers, pickles, etc. lack any nutritive value and are manifestly harmful to health, and so are the processes of frying, stewing, etc. These render even healthy food useless and deleterious. Materials inimical to health are found not only in the kitchen but also outside, for example, liquor and intoxicants of various kinds, betel, tobacco, zarda, gutka, and so many other such things have acquired the status of food supplements and are used in a routine way. The situation has become so alarming that even the food habits of the elite of society make one wonder why these educated and well-informed persons have lost their sense of wise discrimination. There are some exceptions, of course, in this class, but their number is negligible. Now, when to eat? Again, the answer is only one way, twice a day at the most, and that too, when the appetite has built up sufficiently. Eating randomly, or taking frequent snacks and breakfast in addition to regular meals is going to do no good. Dietary habits, these days, have so much deteriorated that biologists and psychologists have made this matter a subject of their research. They classify hunger in different types, for example, 1. Strong craving to eat at the sight of others eating. 2. Frequent urge to eat during moments of tension. 3. Fixed time appetite in accordance with the biological clock, etc. The experts consider the former two types wrong and only the third type right. Now, having known that one should eat only when there is real appetite for it, there follows the next question: how to eat? The answer is that food should be taken in a quiet and restful manner, with humble remembrance of God as His prasad, grace. If food is seen as God's prasad, even the simple chapati, unleavened bread, proves nourishing. On the contrary, sweetmeats, multi-course dishes and dry fruits, if taken hurriedly and in fretful mood, impair health and produce ailments. The right food taken in the right manner is the key to sound health. The Ayurveda, ancient healing therapy, has an interesting and instructive story. Once it occurred to Maharishi Charak, the great pioneer of Ayurveda, that he should test whether his pupils understood correctly his teachings. He metamorphosed into a pigeon and shut on a tree, through under which many Vaidyas, healers, were passing by. The pigeon called out, "Ko Rook, Ko Rook, Ko Rook." Who is healthy? Who is healthy? Who is healthy? The Vaidyas paid no heed to pigeon's words. The Maharishi thought that either they did not comprehend what the tiny bird was saying, or they were ignoring him. He flew from there and chose another tree. Incidentally, the great scholar Vagbhatta was passing that way. He heard the query of Maharishi and replied repeatedly thrice, "Hitmuk, Hitmuk, Hitmuk," that is, healthy is one who eats the right type of food. Charak turned pigeon asked again, "Ko Rook, Ko Rook, Ko Rook." Vagbhatta answered, "Mitmuk, Mitmuk, Mitmuk," that is, the one who eats in moderation. The bird repeated the question a third time. Vagbhatta's response this time was, "Ritmuk, Ritmuk, Ritmuk," that is, one who eats according to season, and what he has earned through righteous means. The bird flew away satisfied, as his question had been answered correctly. 3 words or stipulations may be laid down about diet: hit, meet and reet. Hitbhoji is one who consumes only those materials that are useful and beneficial for health. Such a person eats for health, not taste. Mitbhoji is that who eats in moderation. Gluttons cannot do any kind of sadhana. They remain preoccupied with finding digestive powders and tablets after meals. The third and most important stipulation about food is reet. It implies piety and purity of thought and what is suitable in a particular season. The meaning of reet inheres in the inner attitude with which the food is prepared and taken. What are the feelings of the person preparing the food? Whether or not the eaters are dutiful and conscientious? Reet food can be prepared only by one who is full of loving kindness, who is suffused with motherly affection. And then the means by which we earn our livelihood must also be righteous and honest. Remember, the more we extend our goodwill to others, the more our inner strength increases. If the food that goes into our stomach is sullied with others' feelings of deep hurt, it will corrupt our feelings too. The truth is, an evolution of the food habit is an evolution of consciousness. The nature of our consciousness is refined or perverted depending upon the nature of the food we consume. This very refinement, or perversion, is reflected in our style of living too.
7. Dress should accord with the national culture. Vastrinva Vasaya Manmana Suchim Rigved 1, 141. We cover the sacred and the private organs with the right dress. The style of dress reveals a person's cultural affinities. It indicates that the person cherishes deep inside him particular cultural values. Blind imitation of Western dress is a pointer to thoughtless belief in superiority of Western civilization and culture. This tendency shows that such persons are cut off from their own cultural moorings. Their sense of pride in Indian culture and motherland has virtually died down. Otherwise, why should they be reluctant to adopt the dress style of their own country? Those who are desirous of treading the path of JIvan Sadhana should be conscious about their clothing. The recent history of our country underlines the significance of this fact. The great men who led the nation during the tumultuous days of the freedom struggle had almost wholly received Western, English education. Many of them had studied in England. Some of them had even turned down high and prestigious posts like the ICS in the initial stages, and during their studentship, almost all wore English-style dress. But when love for the nation began to stir them, their dress styles changed too. Barrister Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi could become Mahatma Gandhi only by adopting Indian dress and ethos. His followers and associates too set out on the noble task of awakening the nation after adopting native style of clothing. There is a touching incident having a bearing on this matter. The world-famous chemical scientist Dr. Prafulla Chandra Roy was professor in Calcutta University. As befitted a university professor, his apparel too was Western. Those were the days of the independence movement. The whole country was resonating with national sentiments. The sensitive heart of Dr. P.C. Roy could not remain unaffected by all this. Love for the nation began to stir in his bosom too. But he was in a fix. How could he pursue this love in the midst of his scientific work? In what way could he serve the nation? To find the answer, he met Gandhiji. He was wearing Western dress as usual at that time. Gandhiji looked at him from top to bottom and said with a smile, "Roy sir, what was the great hurry that you have come unclothed?" Dr. Roy was perplexed. Why was Mahatmaji talking in riddles today? I have come fully clothed, yet he is saying that I am without clothes. Gandhiji explained, nation cannot be served properly under alien attire. National values, national sentiments, national culture, these all have only one identity, and that is our own national mode of dressing. Now Professor Roy was able to understand the import of Gandhiji's words. He completely changed his attire from that day and made the ethnic khadi his lifelong companion. Those who advance the excuses of dress norms operative in technical and higher education institutions should stand reminded here that there are so many persons working in our mission, Gayatri Parivar, who have completed their technical, higher education in dhoti kurta. Students doing engineering studies including M.Tech, and that too from the best institutes of the country, don dhoti kurta and maintain the dignity of our culture. There is a famous proverb, where there is a will, there is a way. So the need is to generate the will, corresponding ways will materialize on their own. With strong willpower and overflowing love for one's culture, the entire course of life can be transformed, what to speak of the dress style. The modes of dress prevalent these days reflect neither Indianness nor Indian culture. The general wear on school and college campuses is expressive of only tastelessness and lack of decorum. The situation at homes is no better. It all indicates that our cultural sense is fast depleting. Even from the health point of view, experts regard the body-hugging and skin-revealing apparel as unsuitable. It lies upon the young generation of the country to check and reverse this rapidly worsening trend. Any appeal to those whose cultural sense has died and in whom national sentiments have almost dried up is futile. But those who have become indifferent for some other reasons should wake up. Let such brave young men and women come forward and, through their mode of dress, reflect their distinctive nationality and culture. There are some important elements of a proper sense of dress. The first is hygiene. Not only the clothes but the body too should be kept clean. Unkempt hair and uncut nails, for example, are a public announcement that we are not yet civilized. The second element is selection of apparel in accord with the season. The textile and the style summer, winter both should match the different seasons and rainy. The third point is about the general nature and form of the dress. Instead of being very tight and body-hugging, it should be slightly loose-fitting. At the same time, the cut should be such that the body could be properly covered. The fourth element concerns the understanding of our cultural roots. There should be no glaring antagonism between the dress and the socio-cultural values. As far as possible, the attire should be in conformity with our soil and our culture. Our dress should announce to all that we are not only politically but also culturally independent, and we have firm belief in the Indian ethos. To make this belief strong, we will have to give proper direction to our imaginations and learn the art of putting them to right application.
8. Imaginations should be meaningful with deep conviction in them. Yat te devo yat prithvi mano jagam durakam. Tatta avartaya masekshayae jivasi. Rigved 10:58-2. O young man, your mind which has soared to the heavens and your mind which has gone very far on the earth, we bring that mind of yours back here for dwelling and for a happy life. The mind keeps flying on the wings of imaginations. With infinite speed, it takes joy rides to visible and invisible worlds but invariably fails to utilize these imaginations for a happy life here on this terra firma. Most of the imaginations remain in the state of never to be materialized dreams and keep tantalizing and tormenting the inner consciousness time and again. This naturally gives rise to the critical question whether there is any effective way of putting these imaginations and ideas to fruitful use. There is indeed a method, but very few are familiar with it. In the experience of the select few, imagination is the divine potency of human consciousness. It is this power which enables man to transcend the limitations of his ego-bound identity and reach out to the infinite cosmic reality. Its use unlocks the door to new experiences in life and gives new dimensions to consciousness. By imaginations, new creative energies sprout forth, the arts are created and the foundation of research is laid. The first step on the path of all achievements, be they mundane or spiritual, is taken on the basis of imaginations. In normal course, we have their first intimations in the form of waves arising in the mind. We perceive their close presence as mysterious aspects of the seen and the unseen life. Then our emotions come into play. With this intermingling of imaginations and emotions, a beautiful rainbow spreads across the inner sky. This multi-hued luminousness then yearns to break out of the sanctum of mind and finally descends to the play arena of life. Many are the external forms of its expression. When it emerges in words, different forms of literature are born: poetry, short story, play, novel, essay. All types and styles of literary writings are the worded modes of this expression. Its expression in sounds becomes music. In the myriad tunes of innumerable instruments, it is the blend of imaginations and emotions that finds an outlet. This very blending, when applied through strokes of a brush, spreads the magic of painting. Its expression in the crafts leads to the birth of so many craft forms like architecture, sculpture, etc. Its manifestation in food items assumes the form of culinary art and conjures a variety of excellent dishes. From the earliest times to this day, whatever art forms mankind has devised are but the multi-dimensional expressions of this very imagination-emotion combine. The meeting of imagination with intellect opens new vistas of scientific and technological advance. The very first step in any research work is the act of imagination. The unanimous prescription of all research experts is, first the right delineation of the imagination or concept, then the beginning of the actual research work. When the waves of imaginations arising in the mind are chiseled by the intellect and synthesized, and channeled into a focused direction, imagination takes the right shape. Research projects are formulated to actualize these very sculpted imaginations. The scientific community, carrying the gifts of prosperity and glory, is thus able to embellish human life through new avenues of adornment. The great seer sage Maharishi Aurobindo had once said to his disciple Nalini Kant Gupta, "If it were to be estimated how much a country, society or person will progress in its lifetime, judge the quality and nature of its imaginations." In the golden age of Satyug, the era of righteousness, in India, the inhabitants lived the life of Rishi Kalpa, that is, in the mold of a rishi. Their thoughts and imaginations reverberated with Vedic and Upanishadic mantras. If the West today is scaling ever new heights of prosperity, the reason is the dynamism of its people's imaginations, which are always geared towards bringing forth something new in the physical, material sphere. What could be the serviceability of imaginations for a meaningful life? In response to this query of Nalini Kant, the Maharishi said, everybody should keep some important points in mind. First, do not let the standard of your imaginations deteriorate. Imaginations of sensuous indulgences or carnal pleasures should not be entertained, because this dissipates mental energy and saps vitality. Second, be steadfast in the belief that imaginations can be realized. Only, it requires planned and sustained pursuit. He who dreams without tiring, imagines without stopping, and dares to stake everything on its materialization definitely meets with success. His dreams are fulfilled, his imaginations find concrete shape. The mode of using imaginations for a meaningful and joyous life can be summed up in the following points. 1. Development of unique creative energies of life through imaginations. This means that you must not allow negative imaginations any access to your mind. Imagine, if you can, after raising your inner consciousness to its maximum sublimity. This will automatically lead to enhancement of original creativity. 2. Glimpse of the future through the eyes of imaginations. This means that you should paint a picture of your bright future using the brush of imagination and try to give concrete shape to it. 3. Make the personality virtuous by lofty imaginations, that is, you should visualize about the virtuous qualities lacking in the personality and consciously cultivate them and make them an integral part of your personality. 4. Remain immersed in those imaginations that make you calm and joyful, and banish those that give disquiet and pain. 5. Make imaginations your companions in solitude, that is, utilize your moments of aloneness in pious and emotive imaginations. If you pour your heart into these imaginations, it will gradually develop into dhyan, meditation. 6. Through imaginations develop insight into the secrets of life. You will find solutions to the problems of day-to-day life in some of new imaginations. Search for them. 7. Make yourself bold and strong by forceful imaginations. I am eternal spark of the Almighty. Who in the world can harm me when my supreme benefactor is with me as my ever-vigilant guardian? I am capable of doing anything by His grace. Such a firm faith gives strength to remain unruffled in the face of crises. The inner determination of a sadhak is able to multiply this strength 1,000 times.